Up until this point, we've mostly been adding products to the store and then configuring some settings. This is all well and good, but our store looks pretty boring. Luckily for us, there are hundreds of free WooCommerce themes on WordPress.org, and there are plenty of theme stores like WooCommerce and Theme Forest that sell premium themes. We've already installed a theme called Storefront onto the site through the Welcome Wizard. It's made by WooCommerce and it looks great. I'm primarily choosing it because it's what the WooCommerce team uses for testing purposes. Every feature is tested against Storefront. If you use a unique theme that loads pages in a novel way, you might have some issues. By using the recommended theme, I shouldn't discover any of those problems. And they have a ton of built-in functionality like a sticky add to cart button on product pages. We've already installed Storefront, so we can go to our list of themes and activate it. I'll go to Appearance, Themes, and activate Storefront. Once you activate the theme, you'll see a prompt to customize your store. And if you don't have products, or if you don't have enough products, Storefront will automatically add some products and categories to your store. Let's leave on the option to create a home page using the Storefront template. In a future video, we'll start customizing the colors to bring our H+ Sports brand to life. We have our theme installed and activated. Now comes the fun part. Let's customize it and make it match our brand. If you haven't already, click the Let's Go button to add the Storefront homepage template to your site. Then we're going to use the WordPress customizer, which will automatically be loaded for us if we click the Let's Go button. You can also get to this by going to Appearance and then Customize. And if we go into the customizer, we can see that there's a bunch of settings that we can change. We can change the title, upload a logo, change the header colors, the footer colors, all sorts of things. We're currently looking at the homepage which Storefront automatically created for us, and I'm pretty happy with it because it's a nice mix of content and products. Let's go ahead and start customizing this. The first thing I want to do is upload a logo. I'll go to Site Identity and select a logo. I'll select this, which we uploaded before we started recording, and select it, and we can choose how to crop it, or we can click Skip Cropping. That logo looks pretty good. And then we can choose to modify the site title. In this case, it says H+ Sport and it doesn't actually do anything, because the logo has replaced the site title, but it will show up in the HTML of your page, which affects SEO and how visually impaired people might access your site, so you definitely want to put something here, even if you can't see it. Let's go back and now let's customize the header. We can go ahead and add an image here, or we can choose a background color. Let's start with an image. Here's an image I uploaded earlier. That looks pretty good. Let's click Crop Image. But depending on how your theme works, in this case, the image repeats itself and doesn't look good at certain screen sizes. So I'm going to remove this. I'll click Hide Image and we can even delete it here. Let's go ahead and instead customize this with background colors. Let's go for a dark background with light text. So I'll change this to 333, which is a dark gray. And for the text color, let's go for 15:0. And the link color, let's do the same thing. There we go. Now we can see our logo, our links, the search box, and everything we need to. The one thing I might want to change is make this just a little bit lighter to make sure that people can still see the sport after our logo. So go from 333 to something like 444,444. That's a little bit more legible. This looks pretty good. Now let's go back up. Click the back button and go down to the footer. And if we scroll down to the footer, we can see it's pretty boring. So let's go ahead and make some changes here as well. For the background color, let's copy what we used above, which was 444,444. And for the text color and for the link color, we can also set this to 15:0. And for the heading color, which we don't see right now, let's do something slightly different. We've done quite a bit already to the header and the footer. Let's go to a product page and make some tweaks there. Let's scroll down. Here's the product that's most complete so far. So let's go into that product page and let's go back. And here we can see an option for buttons. And most themes will have this option here. We can change the background color to anything we want, similar to our logo color up here, which is ADA80D, and we can see that that affected that button right there. Let's change the alternate button background color. Now both of our buttons look pretty good. Although I do want to change the button text color, and I'm pretty happy with what we've done. Let's go ahead and click Publish to save all of these changes. The one thing I want to point out is that not all themes do have options for these buttons. If your theme doesn't have any controls for these buttons, there is a plugin called WooCommerce Colors. It's a free plugin on WordPress.org and it's made by the WooCommerce team. This button will let you change the Add to Cart button on just about any theme. But of course, if you're using Storefront as I am, you don't need this extra plugin. We've brightened up our theme quite a bit, and the colors match our brand. In fact, let's go back to the homepage and here you can see the button colors we've chosen earlier affect this page and bring our brand affect this page, and every store has the shop page, which is a page automatically created by WooCommerce. And in Storefront, there's a special welcome page that we're looking at right now. If you don't have a front page, it'll create something brand new, and if you have a simple home page, like we have right here, it'll add products starting right here. So we can see categories, products, recommended products, fan favorites, on sale, and more. As long as you have a few products and categories in your store, you'll see the automatically created groupings on this welcome page, and we can control it through the admin. Let's go to the back end. I'll go to Pages, and under Home, I see Front Page, so this is the one I want to modify. Right here, I see the content we created before starting this course, a little image, a couple paragraphs of text, and a nice big image at the bottom. But I don't see all of the products that were listed at the bottom of the page. This is controlled by the home page template. We can change this back to a default template, and that'll get rid of all that extra content. So if we did this right now, we'll see a very simple home page. But we really like that extra content, so let's add that back in, but give us a little bit more control. Now we can add, edit, and delete blocks as we see fit. Let's add a new block. I'll click this little plus button here and type in WooCommerce to see all the blocks relating to WooCommerce. Let's add a featured product block, featured product, and let's highlight our t-shirt and click done. There we go. We can choose a few different formats here. That looks pretty good, so there's one featured product. Let's go ahead and add a few more blocks. I want to add an on sale block so as people go to our home page, they can see all the products that are on sale. We can change the columns and rows so we could just show one product that's on sale, or multiple if they exist. Let's go ahead and add our favorite category, which is supplements. There's no products in this category at the moment, but of course that can change. But this'll be a placeholder for them. Let's show all of our newest products, and I want to show them 4 columns wide, and maybe even 2 rows. And we can control the price and the rating. Let's hide the rating on this page, but we definitely want to keep that add to cart button. We can even filter by a product category, and I really like this, so let's move this up. There we go. And of course, we can add blocks above this. Let's call this a newest products on the market, and change this to a heading. And above this product, we'll say our featured product. And that's pretty good for now. Let's click update, and then let's go to view page. Here's our original home page and home page content. And here are our newest products on the market, our featured product, an on sale product, and an empty category, which as soon as we add products to it, will display right here. Let's do one more thing. I really want to put at least a couple products above the fold, so we'll go back to our edit product page. This featured product, let's move this up one more block. There we go, and let's not forget the heading that goes with it. There we go. Update the page, and refresh. There we go. That's a little bit better. That way, at least people know we're selling something right away. The power of blocks make this page really easy to customize. It's one of the 2 pages that every store owner should customize. The other is the shop page, which we'll customize next. The shop page shows us all the products and categories in our store, and it's a default page created by WooCommerce, and you can get to it through a number of ways, including the breadcrumbs, the cart page, and other pages. So we want to make sure this page looks just as good as the home page. Let's go to the customizer, and in the customizer, we can go to WooCommerce and then product catalog. And here, we can change the defaults for the shop page, so we can choose between shoving products and showing categories. There's our uncategorized category. We can show both. And if we scroll down, we can also change how many products per row we want to show and how many rows per page. If you aren't using Storefront and you don't have these options, there's a useful plugin called the WooCommerce Product Archive Customizer, which helps you do similar things. The options might not be in the same place, but you should be able to do something similar by following the documentation here. One last thing before we move on. Earlier, we customized the button colors, and colors don't really affect mobile devices differently than desktops. But now that we're changing the layout, you should always be checking what your site looks like on tablet and on mobile. So as you're changing rows and columns, make sure that your theme responds appropriately. The shop page, your front page, and the product page are especially important. Make sure that people are seeing something useful on all devices. With Storefront, this shouldn't be an issue, but just check and be aware of what it looks like to someone who's on their phone. The shop page looks pretty great, but we have this sidebar that's just sort of sitting here and isn't doing anything to help us sell more. Let's make this sidebar more useful. I'm quickly going to increase the number of rows per page. And then let's go back and we're going to go to widgets. And under widgets we can customize any of the sidebars. We're going to configure the sidebar called Sidebar. And here we can see all the widgets on this page. And as we hover over them, you can see the little blue box surrounding them. So there's search, recent post, recent comments, archives, categories, and meta. None of these are useful for helping us find more products and sell more products. So let's get rid of all of these. Search is by far the most useful, but it searches everything on your site, not just products, so we can do a little bit better with all of these. Now that we've removed all the widgets, WooCommerce is smart and has filled the space, but we want to make sure to add new widgets back, and that'll actually help us sell more. So let's click Add a Widget. We can type in WooCommerce and see all the widgets related to WooCommerce. So there's product categories, products, ratings, and the one I want to start with at the very top is product search. This is exactly like search, except this only searches products, so that's useful. We can add a title above it if we want. Although I like this minimalist look, let's click Add a Widget. And now let's add a list of product categories. So this is different than blog post categories. And one of the things that I find is very helpful is to hide empty categories. And you might notice that in between videos I've gone ahead and added a few products to different categories, just to make sure that they show up right here. It comes with the title product categories. Let's go ahead and rename that to just categories. And if we wanted to give people more context, we can go ahead and show product counts. And there's a few more things I want to add. Let's minimize product categories. Click on Add a Widget. We'll type in WooCommerce and you can see that there's a few different filters, and these filters are very useful. Filtering by rating is useful. Filtering by product attribute is useful, for example filtering by size or by color. And filtering by price is probably the most useful. Let's go ahead and add that one in there. And WooCommerce is smart and will automatically generate this price range for us. And just to show you an example of how it looks, and I want to add one more filter. We'll type in WooCommerce one more time. And I want to filter now by attribute. So let's say I want to filter by size so people can search for clothing that comes in a size medium. And we'll go ahead and display this as a list. And I'm going to be pretty happy with this. Let's go ahead and take a little test run. Right now it's only showing me products that are size medium, which is this one t-shirt. If you have a lot of filters, then there's one more thing I think you should add. Active product filters. And I'm going to put this all the way at the top. This will show users exactly how they're filtering products so they can remove those filters if they want. We can get rid of this maximum and minimum if we want. Take a few moments to look through the list of widgets. I highlighted some of my favorites, but there are a few more useful ones that are really helpful for e-commerce sites. We've customized the shop page. Now, let's customize the product page. There's a number of things we can do here. There's a lot of free plugins that do all sorts of useful things. But first, let's take a look at our product page. So I'll scroll down to one of my products and click into it. One of the things you might notice is the length of the product page. If you have a long product description or several reviews, the product page will be quite long. And quite often, it's the reviews that will remove someone's fears before they buy your product. So as soon as they reach that safe space, we want to make it as easy as possible for them to add the product to the cart. There's a great feature that was recently added to Storefront called Sticky Add to Cart. If you're using Storefront, this should automatically be on. I just turned mine off to show you what it looks like without that feature, and then turn on Sticky Add to Cart. Now we can see there's this little Add to Cart banner as soon as you scroll beneath the Add to Cart button. So if I scroll all the way back up, here's the Add to Cart button, and as soon as you scroll beneath it, that little banner shows up. If you don't have Storefront, you'll have to find a similar plugin for your theme, or your theme may have something similar built in. One thing I want to point out is that this used to not work very well on mobile, but I submitted a patch a while ago, and now that feature is much smarter where it only works on tablets or bigger, so it doesn't eat up all of your screen real estate. This is one of the huge benefits of open source. Everyone can contribute and make things better. One of the things I've noticed on this page is there are no social sharing icons, and I'm going to go ahead and show you the easiest way to add them. This plugin, also made by the WooCommerce team, adds Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and a share by email button, all of the basics. Let's install this and see how it works. I'll go back to my site, click Publish to make sure these changes are saved. We'll exit the customizer, go back to the admin, plugins, add new, and type in Storefront product sharing, and install now, followed by activate. And let's go back to that product page. The page now has buttons. There's no configuration, no authentication, just simple buttons. There are other options for social sharing. If you want a more configurable system, I set up something similar with a Jetpack sharing module in WordPress, customizing WooCommerce themes. That video will show you how to place the sharing icons, but for our purposes right here, with just a few clicks, we are able to add some serious functionality. To our product pages. If we take a look at our cart page, Storefront does a good job showing us everything in it, but we also see this sidebar, which was useful on the shop page, but it's not useful at all right here. And the same goes for the checkout page. Let's go to the checkout. You can see the checkout fields in the same sidebar. On these pages, this sidebar only takes up room and makes the page more cluttered. Let's go ahead and remove the sidebar on these pages. I'll click on Edit Page, which will take me to the back end. Here's the checkout, which is automatically created by WooCommerce, and under Page Attributes, we can change the template to full width and click Update. Let's take a look at our cart page, and we're going to do the same thing. Under Page Attributes, change the template to full width and click Update. Let's click on View Page. Here's the new cart, and this is much nicer. Again, this is a very simple change, but it's one of those settings that store owners tend to miss, and it can really improve the overall aesthetic of your store, and it can help users check out.